You feel stuck, yet you're so self-aware. Why? It feels like you're just waiting for something. You have this big ambition, you have this desire, but you're just looping. You're not making any progress. So in this video, I want to break down what is happening inside your mind and your body and give you some practices and experiments that will help you move through that stuck energy and start to actualize more of that desire that you have for your life. So if you're new here, my name is Kev. I help ambitious creatives design and build a life and business they love by tapping into the clarity, confidence, and connection to their mission. So this feeling of stuckness, what does that actually mean? Stuckness is essentially just a symptom that we are not allowing ourselves to trust what has been made clear to us that the next step is, right? Stuckness happens when we want to know all of the answers and we fear getting it wrong. Rather, how life tends to work is we only are given the next step, and it might feel vague or it might feel very, very clear, but generally we have a subtle intuitive knowing of the next thing that needs to happen. And that thing could really scare you because it could be different than how you might be imagining life unfolding. It could be unexpected. It could lead you into some uncomfortable waters, right? Yet life doesn't really care. You know, if you are trying to embody your desire and to align with your deepest integrity, like that means you're going to be heading in the direction of a deeper mission, which means you're gonna have to walk through your fears. And so naturally we'd want to have it all figured out before we get started, but that's not how it works. So stuckness is when we're just kind of looping the story over and over again of what should I do? I feel like I should do this, but is that the right path? I don't know if it's the right path. I need more clarity. Where do I find clarity? I'm going to find clarity in researching everything to make sure that I don't get anything wrong. And you see how that loop just kind of keeps going and going and going. So stuckness, how I relate to it, is a call to drop more into the body, to not eradicate what's happening in the mind, but to realize that no amount of thinking is going to solve this problem, dilemma, whatever for me. Only feeling will help me connect to what I need to do next and how I need to be in order to do it. Thinking will just kind of keep looping and looping and looping and looping, and that might be a part of your journey. However, if you actually want to move with clarity and confidence in the direction of what you desire, at some point you're going to have to drop into the body and trust the feeling that comes up. i.e., you feel like you're led to quit your job or to move or to change up your lifestyle in some way that might kind of scare you, right? It seems jarring, it seems new, and so you want to research everything about what that new lifestyle could be, or you start researching all of these different places that you'd like to move and all the ins and outs, the pros and cons of each city and this and that, or you might start to research all these different types of jobs and businesses you can start and get 26 steps ahead without actually taking the step. Now, of course, depending on the level of responsibility you have to cater to in your life, use your discernment to find that balance of what feels like a really informed choice and what feels like a really responsible choice. But at the same time, like, allow yourself to be a little messy. Allow yourself to consider that curiosity in the process and kind of that wild shift, you know? Because let's face it, most of the time, the most extraordinary change happens when we really just heart forward embrace a wild shift. And that wild shift can be just one click to the north-northwest type of thing, you know? It doesn't have to be the 180-degree opposite. Sometimes it's just a tiny little turn, but following that turn over the course of a day, a month, and a year will lead to a radically different life than if you just headed straight, right? So stuckness is about getting out of the mind, because you'll never find the clarity that you're looking for. Because clarity is guttural. Clarity is this deep knowing. It's not a thought, right? So how you can start to navigate this is, one, kind of backtrack to when did I have the feeling that I wanted change, and what was the first thing that came to me? And did I look for that exact piece of information a second time? In other words, when I was given the kind of idea that, oh, I should go do this, was I then trying to look for another piece of information about how and why I should live my life that way so that this piece of information could work? And so you have this piece and then this piece that validates that first idea, and then you go look for another piece of information that validates this to that. You see that cycle. Whereas really what you're being called to is to trust that this is coming up, and you have to really feel if that's an authentic desire, if that's yours. That's a whole different video. But if you can cultivate trust with this feeling that's coming up, I don't know why, but it feels like this keeps coming up, I want to give it some curiosity and lean towards it. That's really what life is asking. That's how you get unstuck, is you just at some point have to commit to trusting where you're being led, right? At some point you just have to embody that. And even if you realize that that's not what you wanted, you got out of the stuckness and you got more information and data to inform more of what you do want. How I see it play out in my life a lot is this is the intuitive feeling that I am being drawn towards, or that's coming up for me. And I might resist and dance with it for a while until I surrender to it. And oftentimes as I'm taking action and moving towards that, the next step will make itself available to me and it'll actually kind of pivot even before I think I get to that place. It's just you needed to jump from A to B for C to then present itself. And the way that this applies for creatives and like your expression and your art and whatever business you might want to be building is we want to have it all figured out before we begin, and that's just not how it works. You can't have it all figured out because that's not the challenge, right? You have to get skin in the game by trusting the deep knowing that comes up inside of you that knows much better than your mind could ever know, and cultivating that trust, because that leaves so much space for luck, magic, and the mystery. And so you couple that with your skills, with your devotion, and then with your genuine discernment, man, that is a powerful collaboration going on there. Versus if you take luck, mystery, magic, intuition out of it and just try to use your intellect and just try to use skill, it's gonna be an exhausting journey, right? And it's like the challenge has to nourish you, not exhaust you. So my challenge to you all is to really look to where you've had a knowingness that you've been avoiding. Oh, I really feel like I need to start that project, or I need to talk to that person, or I need to do whatever X, Y, and Z might be for you. I challenge you to drop the stories for a moment, to embrace that fully, commit yourself fully to it for a day, 2 days, a week, 30 days. I like 30-day stuff because it seems like that's a nice amount of data. Commit yourself to 30 days to following where you're being led and collaborating with it, right? Taking the action, applying yourself, but also saying, all right, this is the next step. Do it. Okay, from here, now what can I see? Okay, I can see that this is where I feel like I want to go. Go that way. Follow that for 30 days and see what happens. See if you like more of the person that you are becoming doing that as opposed to not doing that. And at the very least, you are getting yourself unstuck. So that alone is going to bring a lot of clarity to your system, because you've started to move all of these blockages that are stuck in the mind and the body. You're getting out of freeze and you're feeling safe pushing that edge. If you haven't watched, I think my last video was about the nervous system and stretching your edge. That'll really, really help you begin to work with resistance and work with that sort of boundary line of your fear in a way that helps you feel safe embracing the uncomfortable. Because if there's one skill that you can learn as a creative entrepreneur, it's get comfortable feeling uncomfortable. So that's what I have for you today. Stop waiting, get unstuck by trusting that deep knowing, cultivating some intimacy with that, embracing the fears and intensity that may come up, and see who you become on the other side. And I bet you like that person more than the person that does not do that. So thanks y'all, appreciate you. Have a great day. Yeehaw.